Why is he out? Was a taser deployed?
Your Honor,
I think that's either yes or no. Was a taser deployed?
Your Honor, as soon as saw him, she
Mr.
pointed
Allen.
the taser at him. He was running and pointed the taser.
I didn't ask that, Ms. Gaines. I did not ask that. Was the taser deployed?
Yes, it was.
Did an officer have to draw their weapon?
I did not see that. I could not see that on the video. Again, Your Honor, he's 20 years old. He has no prior history on an unarmed young man.
I mean, Ms. Gaines, I don't get it.
This young man walked into the courtroom today with a mountain of serious accusations hanging over him. According to reports, he didn't just resist arrest. He allegedly attacked 2 police officers, throwing punches, twisting a finger, and leaving one of them injured in the process. But that's not where it ends. He's also facing claims that he assaulted his ex-girlfriend, adding another disturbing layer to an already troubling case. What makes this situation even more frustrating is how confidently he carries himself, almost as if he's done nothing wrong. Watching his defense attorney, you can tell she's fighting tooth and nail to keep him out of jail, maybe even stretching the limits of reason to do so. It's the kind of defense that makes you wonder how far the justice system should go to protect someone who's repeatedly shown reckless behavior. Now, all eyes are on Judge Simpson, who has a difficult task of deciding what happens next. Will the court give him yet another opportunity to turn his life around? Or is it finally time for him to face the consequences behind bars where he can't harm anyone else? Let's break down what unfolds in this dramatic courtroom moment.
Esteban.
Your Honor, we are just looking to address the condition of bond that requires that Mr. Hopkins be on house arrest. Prior to this matter, Mr. Hopkins was employed as a result of having the tether plates. No longer able to, in this case, he was no longer able to maintain that employment. He is hoping to be able to get new employment and is asking that the court consider a no go-to order, a no contact order, or anything of that nature. My client, Mr. Hopkins, also recently registered for the cybersecurity program. Text me that information. I tried to send the confirmation to Ms. Barroso so that she would be able to see it. It's my understanding that the classes are majority online, but that would be the only place that he would have to come across Chenal County. Otherwise, he's just asking for some order that would allow him to work and just not have that kind of contact.
Response.
Your Honor, the bond in this case was set at $5,000 cash or surety when we requested a $50,000 bond. In this case, the people are uncomfortable with him being out. This was an event for a series of events that occurred where the defendant assaulted the victim at not one but 2 locations. An eyewitness saw the defendant shove the victim while near the police station. The police attempted to make contact with the defendant, and then he picked up, as a result of him resisting, picked up 5 counts of R&O against 4 different officers. One of those 5 counts is an R&O causing injury that was so severe that the officer is actually seeking specialized medical treatment from an orthopedic surgeon. At this point, this is a 9.
So hold on. There was a DV and then an officer injured. Why is he out?
Your Honor, if I could address.
Hold on. I'll let Ms. Barroso finish and then you can address it. I just had an intermediate question. Go ahead.
So at this point, I don't think that a modification of bond removing him from being on house arrest is appropriate. We objected to a nominal bond of $5,000 when it was originally granted. At this point, I don't think that any further reduction is appropriate.
A couple of things. First of all, Mr. Hopkins is here with his father. He is 20 years old. He has no prior criminal history. In reviewing the police report and the video, even the report references that the altercation, that the incidents that resulted in this charge, that there were,
In which
that it was,
charge?
I'll start with the domestic violence. That with those charges, that that there was a more complicated situation. I believe the officer said, the report says something to the effect of, and this would also go to the property, that there had been physical altercations between the two of them, fighting between the two of them, and breaking of objects between the two of them. So I believe that there's more to this than said. The allegations of the domestic violence are the one of the shoving, and also I believe of Mr. Hopkins taking his own computer back from the complainant. That's the second allegation of the domestic violence. And the resisting and obstructing is, the allegations are that Mr. Hopkins, not that Mr. Hopkins turned around and slammed someone or punched them or anything, that he pulled away. The allegation is the officer fell and that caused the injury. And then that officer fell, yes, as he pulled away. And then subsequently, 4 officers who were, some of whom just pulled up on the scene in the video, all ran after him. And that's where the resisting and obstructing comes. And he did, in fact, eventually stop. It was not, it's not as if he were in a vehicle and went miles or hours away. He did stop running, and he did, once they complied, once that occurred, there were no further incidents. So.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, that is not the characterization of the R&O. The allegations include him punching 2 officers in the face, breaking free of their grasp, causing them to fall to the ground, twisting and seriously injuring an officer's finger. And then it went on for such a period of time that an officer had to point and deploy a taser. And that another officer had to point their pistol at a defendant. So at the defendant. So at this point, I don't think it was him passively.
Your Honor, I had an opportunity to view the video.
Did we all watch the same courtroom video? Because honestly, I have no idea how this defense attorney is managing to say all of that with a straight face. According to her, this guy supposedly threw a single punch, took off running, and then calmly cooperated like some model citizen right after. But when you listen to the prosecution side, it's a completely different story. They claim he attacked not 1 but 2 officers, twisted one officer's finger so badly it caused an injury, and in the chaos, someone even had to draw a gun. That's not just a minor disagreement. That's a difference between night and day at best. It feels like the defense is doing some serious creative storytelling, and at worst, she's dangerously close to misleading Judge Simpson. Sure, I understand she's doing her job, but there's a fine line between defending a client and trying to rewrite reality. It's hard to imagine anyone in that courtroom truly believing what she's selling. Let's be honest. Prosecutors don't just pull stories out of thin air. The reports are there, the details are documented, and the injuries are real. Pretending that none of this happened doesn't make it go away. It just makes the defense look desperate. This man's record already paints a pretty alarming picture, and acting like he's harmless is just reckless. That it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out once the jury footage is released. But honestly, I can't imagine them falling for this version of events, and I doubt Judge Simpson will either. What about you? Whose side are you leaning toward so far? Because if you ask me, this defense attorney's performance is becoming almost as unbelievable as her client's story.
Well, you had an opportunity to view the video.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Was a taser deployed?
Your Honor, when the end,
I think that's either yes or no. Was a taser deployed?
Your Honor, as soon as the officer saw him, she pointed the taser at him. This is not, as soon as she saw him, she pointed the taser at him. This is not a situation where he was running and pointed the taser.
I didn't ask that, Ms. Gaines. I did not ask that.
Yes, sir.
Was the taser deployed?
Yes, it was.
Did an officer have to draw their weapon?
I did not see that. I could not see that on the video.
Ms. Burrows, are you indicating an officer had to draw their weapon?
That is what was indicated to me in the file, Your Honor. Yes.
And then there's an officer that's injured. Again, will ask the question, I don't know why this individual's out.
Again, Your Honor, he's 20 years old. He has no prior history, and he has no reason to come back to Washtenaw County other than for school in this case. It's my understanding. I have not heard any information that he has had any contact with the complainant, has violated any orders. He is just asking to be able to go to work and to be able to get a job and go to work. Your Honor, would you want to hear from Mr. Hopkins' father, who's present?
I don't know what he could tell me at this point in time. I'm more worried about the bond as it originally is set. Does he have prior convictions for anything?
No, Your Honor.
That the original domestic was about. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, because I'll just tell you, I have some serious concerns that this escalated to a point that officers are having to deploy a taser, pull their weapon. And there are clearly enough officers around to, in my opinion, have subdued this individual without having to do all of that. So something else is going on. And
Your Honor,
I also have, I mean, one's bad enough, but I have 2 counts of domestic violence.
again, Your Honor, one of them is him taking back his own computer. That's one of the allegations. And that's why I'm saying there were things that were happening before this. That's not to excuse his behavior. That is to say that there's broader context. And in my view of the video, initially there was 1 officer, then there were 2, and he ran from 2, but as he's running from those 2, there are cars, 4 and 5 cars are pulling up with sirens on an unarmed young man who clearly panicked. This is not someone who's had police involvement, who has a history of contact with law enforcement and the criminal justice system. Again, I'm not excusing, but I do think that there's more. I think there are more nuances to this than the prosecutor does.
Well, explain some of those then. Because I've got a victim of a DV that's injured.
She is not, the domestic violence person is not injured. It was the shove and the taking of there's no injury to her.
Domestic violence are 2 misdemeanor counts.
That is
the felonies here are 5 counts of R, 5 counts.
Yeah, I see that.
Are no causing it.
Maybe I misread that on the report, but
Yes.
the injury to the finger that's the officer.
That's correct.
Thank you. I don't understand this. I mean, there's a lot I don't understand. How, and I get there are resisting and obstructings that are filed that some may look at as questionable in terms of the charge. I get that. But I'm also trying to figure out how an officer gets injured, that there are punches to the face of officers. I mean, Ms. Gaines, I don't get it.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm saying I did not see any punches to the face when I observed the video.
I don't know what it is, but something about this defense attorney's argument just doesn't sit right. Her entire tone feels less like she's defending her client and more like she's scrambling to control the damage. You can almost sense that she's trying to reshape the story to make this guy look like the victim, when the facts show the exact opposite. This isn't some minor misunderstanding that spiraled out of control. This is about a man who allegedly assaulted 2 police officers and then tried to take off running. That's not confusion. That's a crime. And the more you listen, the harder it is to believe her version of events. Because the state's account? It's honestly disturbing. 2 officers were attacked, not 1, and 1 of them ended up injured. Just think about that for a second. If he can do that to trained officers, what could he do to someone who isn't prepared to defend themselves? That thought alone is chilling that it's clear this guy doesn't have control over his own actions. Someone who reacts that violently isn't ready to walk freely among others. Following the law isn't optional, and respecting it is the bare minimum. This isn't being harsh, it's just facing reality. There's a big difference between giving someone a fair chance and ignoring repeated dangerous behavior. Now, I know some of you watching might say I'm being too tough, but seriously, where do we draw the line? How many warnings or violent outbursts does it take before accountability kicks in? Because from where I'm standing, this one isn't even close. The support for this guy is maybe 1%, if that. But hey, what do you think? Whose side are you on here?
Tell you what, I'm certainly not changing any conditions. Can you explain to me one reason why I shouldn't raise his bond?
Your Honor, he has appeared for every court date and he has not picked up any new charges. And he has not had any contact with the complainant on the domestic violence or any of the officers. My understanding from him is that he has only come to Washtenaw County for court. He does not even reside in this county. It does not appear he's a flight risk, nor that he is a danger to the community. He is here with his father. He has come to every court date and he's highly responsive to my calls and texts. And absent the no offer in this matter, we'd be looking to resolve it.
Anything else from the people?
No, Your Honor.
You know what? I'm not changing his condition in the bond. I'm not at this juncture going to up his bond either, although of rights I should. Of rights, I don't think he should be out around tethered or not, given that behavior. But I'll let Judge Perry deal with that after she hears the preliminary examination. Bond will continue. Motion for bond reduction or changing condition is denied.
Thank you.
He's just 20 years old, but already facing charges that are far from minor, accused of domestic violence, and then allegedly turning around to assault 2 police officers. That's not a moment of youthful recklessness. That's a serious pattern of violent behavior. So when the defense attorney tried to frame this as young and still learning, it honestly made no sense. Calling him just a kid doesn't erase what happened, and hearing that argument in court felt almost insulting to common sense. Let's be real, you don't get a free pass to harm people just because it's your first offense. Accountability doesn't disappear with age, and the excuses being offered in his defense were just baffling. One of the attorney's points was that he needed to stay out of jail so he could go to work, except, according to the record, he doesn't even have a job. That kind of argument doesn't just fall flat, it completely destroys credibility. It also makes you wonder where the parental guidance was in all of this. How does someone grow up believing they can attack law enforcement and just walk away from it? That's not just poor judgment. That's a total failure of accountability on every level. When it comes to violence against officers, the courts don't take it lightly, and for good reason. Those kinds of actions threaten the entire system meant to protect people. And in trying so hard to excuse it, the defense attorney may have done more harm than good. Instead of helping her client, she ended up undermining her own professionalism and weakening the defense's case even further. In the end, the facts are clear. This isn't about age, it's about choices. So, what do you think? How long should someone face behind bars for something like this? Let me know your take in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching and staying tuned for more courtroom breakdowns like this one.